Extraordinary child and dog reveal hidden strength, 12 minutes to turn the tide against crime. In the heart of a struggling Detroit neighborhood, where the echoes of sirens and shouting often drown out the laughter of children, lived Jamie, a 10-year-old boy with big dreams. The world might have seen him as just another kid from a tough area, but there was fire in his heart. With Scruffy Max, his loyal rescue dog, by his side, Jamie found solace. When his mother worked double shifts to put food on the table, and his grandfather, a proud veteran, stared hopelessly at the fading community he had fought for, it was Jamie's imagination that kept him afloat. He spent sunny afternoons tinkering with discarded electronics, dreaming up gadgets that could change the world, but the laughter was fading fast. Gang intimidation loomed outside the community center where kids should have felt safe. Graffiti marred the walls of his beloved school, symbols of despair creeping into every corner. Jamie felt that weight on his small shoulders, a burden he didn't know how to carry. He could sense the anxiety in his mother's tired eyes and the helplessness in his grandfather's eyes. Misunderstandings floated between them like heavy clouds, dulling the brightness of their once strong bond. One evening, after another day where hope seemed scarce, Jamie sat in the garage, surrounded by wires and ruined gadgets. His fingers worked mindlessly until, out of nowhere, a spark ignited in his mind. Why not use his inventiveness to fight back? If he could create a device to alert neighbors, to stand together against the gangs, they could reclaim their community. Excitement surged through him as ideas poured like rain. But as he poured energy into his inventions, trouble brewed outside. The gang, emboldened, stepped up their intimidation tactics, their whispers echoing through the streets, threatening the very spirit of his neighborhood. The community center, the heartbeat of their lives, was under siege. Tension at home had grown unbearable, the love that once flourished now felt strained, each meal a silent battlefield of misunderstandings and longing for connection. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With Max barking beside him, Jamie gathered his tools, heart racing as he prepared to face the gang like a knight of old. The inspiration from those whimsical gadgets now felt real. This could actually make a difference. Minutes turned to seconds as he buttoned up his makeshift armor of hope. He was ready to stand up for his community, to show everyone that even a kid could ignite change. As the shadows grew longer, Jamie's resolve solidified. With determination in his eyes, he stepped outside, his loyal friend by his side, ready to confront the very fear that had seeped into his family and neighborhood. The air crackled with urgency. Could Jamie's inventions unite their community when it mattered most? Would he be able to mend the fragile ties at home and rally his neighbors against the looming threat? The questions hung heavy, promising an explosive clash that would either bind them together or rip them apart. The dim light of dusk wrapped around Jamie like a cloak, shadowed figures lurking just beyond the glow of the street lamp. He could feel the weight of the night pressing down, amplified by the thudding of his heartbeat. His palms were sweaty, anxious energy coursed through him. Max raised his hackles, barking fiercely, sensing the tension in the air. Jamie took a deep breath, gathering every ounce of courage he could muster, before stepping into the uncertainties of the street. The community center loomed ahead, lights flickering desperately, failing in their mission to push back the encroaching darkness. It was more than just a building, it had been a sanctuary, a gathering place filled with laughter, music, and familiar faces. But now, graffiti covered the walls, and broken windows whispered secrets of neglect and fear. Jamie clenched his fists. This was his home, and he wouldn't stand by while it fell apart. "All right, Max," he whispered, his voice stronger than he felt. "Let us show them what we've got." With that, he made a beeline for the nearby park, a place that had seen better days but still held a spark of life. If he could just find a way to rally the kids from the neighborhood. Jamie's plan formed like storm clouds rumbling to life. He wouldn't just create a device, he'd gather an army kids ready to reclaim their space. A few whispers and a few clipped calls could spread the word faster than the gang's intimidation tactics. As he approached the park, kids he knew well spotted him. A few came over, curiosity mingling with uncertainty written all over their faces. "Hey, Jamie. What's up?" one asked, flicking a pebble into the grass. "What's going on?" Another chimed in. Jamie held up a hand, excitement bubbling inside him. "Listen. We need to stand together. We can't let them win. They're trying to scare us away from our own place." His friends looked at each other, unsure. Their eyes darted to Max, who stood protectively by Jamie's side, tail wagging the slightest bit. "They'll hurt you." One of them finally spoke. "Those guys are dangerous." Jamie shook his head, determination etched on his face. "Not if we're careful. Not if we're smart. I'm working on something, a way to alert everyone, to let us know if they're coming. But we need you guys to help. We need to make noise together." A ripple of uncertainty flickered through the group, then an unexpected spark ignited when his best friend, Tony, stepped forward. "I'm in. We can make it a game. We'll be like superheroes. Right, guys?" One by one, nods began to flourish around him as Jamie saw the fear slowly melt away, replaced by a glimmer of hope. They hadn't realized how powerful their collective voice could be, how their laughter could chase away shadows. "Let us meet tomorrow," Jamie exclaimed. "We will come up with a plan to meet right here, and I'll show you the project I'm working on." The others cheered, excitement finally dawning on their faces. As the night lingered on, Jamie left the park with a lighter heart, believing that with his friends by his side, they might just have the strength to fight back, but as he turned the corner towards home, the sound of distant laughter faded, replaced by an ominous rumble, the unmistakable roar of an approaching gang car. Jamie's heart sank. Their sinister intent loomed like dark clouds overhead. Would they make it in time to warn the neighborhood? As the headlights pierced the darkness, an unspoken fear filled the air. Could this alliance of courage withstand the storm that was about to break? Jamie's heart raced faster than ever as the violent roar of the car grew nearer. He couldn't shake the feeling that time was ticking away, like grains of sand slipping through his fingers. Max growled low and steady beside him, muscles taut, an extension of Jamie's own anxiety. "Come on, Max, we have to warn the others." Jamie bolted, his sneakers pummeling the pavement as adrenaline surged through him. The darkness held its breath, and in that moment, it felt like the world was closing in. He sprinted through the shadows, dodging street lamps that cast flickering pools of light. He could see the outline of the park ahead, where his friends would soon gather. Shouts echoed down the road. The gang was making their presence known, loud and brash, echoing through the night like a sinister invitation. As he skidded to a halt at the park entrance, Jamie felt the familiar swell of courage mixing with terror. He called out, his voice rising above the chaos, "Everyone! You need to hide. The gang is coming." Panic rippled through the group of kids who were starting to assemble. Confusion marred their faces, pooling into uncertainty. Some moved instinctively, retreating behind trees or bench shadows, while others froze. "Jamie, what are we supposed to do?" one girl shouted, her voice trembling. "We stick together," Jamie barked back. "Grab anything. Be ready to make noise. We'll distract them." A few of the kids grabbed rocks, sticks, and even a couple of old soda cans, forming a makeshift arsenal. Jamie's heart swelled for a brief moment. They looked like a band of warriors ready for battle, fueled by the raw energy of collective fear and hope. The car roared into view now, headlights sweeping across the park like sinister searchlights. Jamie's hands shook, but he stepped forward defiantly. This was their ground, and they had every right to stand their ground. As the car slowed and came to a stop, the unmistakable figures of the gang slid out, their laughter grating against Jamie's resolve. He could see the bored expressions on their faces as they scanned the area, looking for anything to prey upon. Jamie swallowed hard, an idea sparking in his mind. "On my count," he hissed, gathering the kids closer. 3, 2, 1 now. With a push, they all erupted into noise, hurling rocks and yelling as loud as they could. The sound was a cacophony sharp and unexpected, shattering the stillness of the night. Startled, the gang members jumped back, eyes wide. "What the heck?" one of them shouted, glancing around frantically. "Let us get out of here." As the car screeched away, Jamie's heart danced with triumph. They had stood up together, turned their fear into action. Shouts of relief mixed with laughter exploded among the group, releasing the tension that had been coiling in their chests, but as the echoes faded, Jamie noticed something. Looking around, he saw that several of the kids were still tense, staring off into the dark, still wary. "We did it," he said, trying to rally everyone's spirits. "We scared them off. Imagine what we can do tomorrow." Tony grinned, but Jamie caught the gaze of another kid, Maria, who quietly shook her head. "What if they come back?" she asked, fear creeping back into her voice. Jamie's heart sank at her question. Could they really defend their space again? An unspoken weight settled over the group, replacing the exhilaration with fresh anxiety. "Tomorrow, we'll prepare," Jamie said, determination filling his voice again. "We'll come up with a foolproof plan. Together." As the night slowly swallowed the sounds from earlier, Jamie realized that this battle was just beginning. They had won this round, but the fight to reclaim their home was far from over. Just as he felt that sense of unity building again, he caught sight of a shadow moving in the distance, lingering too long, almost searching, what else could be lurking in the darkness just beyond the park. Jamie squinted into the dark, trying to make out the shadow that flickered at the edge of the park. His heart thumped loudly in his chest. Was it another gang member? Or something even worse? Max shifted beside him, growling softly. The hairs on Jamie's neck stood up. "Stay close," he whispered. He narrowed his eyes, scanning the tree-line as a chill crept up his spine. "Is it gone?" someone asked. It was Sarah, her eyes wide with unshed tears. Jamie felt a rush of empathy flood through him. They had all faced fear together tonight, and even though they tasted victory, the vulnerability still clung to the air. "I don't know," he admitted, voice shaky. "But we can't let fear hold us down." He swept his arms, trying to push back the darkness, as if his words could shield them. "Everyone, stay ready. If it's the gang, we can't let them win." The group shuffled closer, their makeshift weapons clutched tightly. Jamie took a deep breath, forcing optimism into his voice. "This isn't just about fighting them, it's about protecting our home. When morning comes, we'll gather everyone we can. We'll create a plan, build our defenses. Together, we're stronger." Hesitant nods began to ripple through the kids. They all had stories of feeling powerless, of being scared of the shadows. There was something empowering in sharing that fear and transforming it into resolve. Suddenly, the shadow re-emerged, larger than before. This time, its shape started to become clear. It wasn't a person. Jamie squinted, confusion swirling in his mind as the outline of a large dog emerged from the darkness. "Max?" he murmured, but the dog by his side remained steady. The newcomer smiled at them, wagging its tail, and a small hope ignited in Jamie's heart. This dog wasn't just any dog, it was the legendary stray they had heard stories about. People said it could sense danger and even sniff out trouble before it happened. Word spread that this dog was a protector, a guardian of the neighborhood. "Is it here to help us?" Jamie whispered, excitement bubbling up. "Can we trust it?" asked Tony, skepticism etched on his face. "We have to try," Jamie replied, stepping forward. As he raised his arm in invitation, the stray trotted closer, sniffing the air. Jamie felt the warmth of the dog's energy pull him in, a sense of calm radiating from its shiny coat. The moment the dog reached him, it leaned against his thigh, looking up with intelligent eyes. Jamie knelt down and patted its head, the connection instant. In that moment, Jamie realized he wasn't alone anymore. "Hey, everyone!" he called out, feeling a spark light within him. "If this dog is really on our side, we can start training together. We can make a plan that includes this." Excitement bubbled up among the kids. Ideas swarmed through them like fireflies in the warm evening air. They began to discuss strategies, how to use the dog's instincts, distractions, maybe even a system for alerting each other. But as their hopes started to bloom, Jamie scanned the park again, knowing the night was still young. "We have to stay alert," he said, keeping his voice steady. "We don't know what else is out there or what might come back." Suddenly, a distant shout pierced the darkness, growing louder. Jamie's heart raced once again. "Is that them?" someone gasped. Tension clenched their stomachs, and Max's growl intensified. "Ready!" Jamie shouted as they took a defensive stance, the stray dog standing proudly alongside them. "Don't back down," Jamie commanded, his voice both fierce and resolute. They had fought once, they could fight again. With a fleeting glance towards the flickering lights of the town beyond the park, Jamie braced himself. The true test was about to begin. Would they rise to the challenge? What if this time, they weren't just fighting for their home, but for each other? The shout grew louder, morphing from distant echo to jarring presence. Jamie's heart thundered as the figure rushed from the shadows, stumbling into view. It was Mark, his face flushed and panic-stricken. "They're coming!" he yelled, breathless. "A whole pack of them." Jamie's stomach sank. There it was, the danger they had been dreading. He motioned for everyone to spread out, forming a protective circle around the new dog. The stray stood firmly, as if fully aware of the oncoming threat. "Stick together," he urged, looking into each set of wide, fear-stricken eyes. He could see their trembling hands gripping wooden planks and rocks. Their makeshift weapons felt inadequate but were all they had. "Now, we meet this head-on." Max then let out a fierce bark, stirring the air with renewed energy. The stray quickly took a step forward and growled, looking straight toward the direction where the sound came from. They could all feel it, the electricity of impending confrontation, the anticipation pulsing with every beat of their hearts. In the distance, they could see shadows gathering. The gang was coming, their laughter sinister, echoing through the trees. "This is it," Jamie thought, trying to keep his own fear at bay. He inhaled deeply, letting courage flood through him. "Do you remember what we talked about?" he called out, his voice steady despite the tremor of anxiety underneath. "We've trained and trained for moments like these. Let us channel our fear into strength. Together." The group nodded. He could see the doubt in their eyes slowly morphing into resolution. They weren't just a collection of scared kids anymore, they were a united front, determined to protect what mattered. The sounds of approaching footsteps grew louder. Jamie clenched his fists, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "On my signal," he said, glancing at the stray, who seemed to intuitively know what was coming. A surge of adrenaline rushed through Jamie as he lifted his arm. "Now!" They shouted together, a unified battle cry that shocked even him. The resonance of their voices filled the night, echoing against the trees, drumming up strength that neither fear nor doubt could squash. With purpose, they charged toward the oncoming gang, their makeshift weapons raised high. The stray dog sprinted ahead, a reminder of the unspoken bond they shared, a spark of hope leading them into the fray. Jamie moved quickly, adrenaline firing through him. Max stayed close to his side, teeth bared, ready to protect. As they collided with the gang, chaos erupted. Bodies moved, shouts filled the night air. Jamie's heart raced, pulsing with the rhythm of bravery forged in friendship and trust. Each swing of his arm seemed lighter, lifted by the will of those beside him. He slammed a piece of wood down, striking the ground, feeling powerful, but the gang was relentless. With every moment, numbers seemed to swell from the shadows, every friend of his facing more than just the evil of the night, but the weight of their own fears too. "Keep pushing," Jamie yelled, sweat trickling down his brow. Then something unexpected happened. The stray dog leapt into the fray, darting around, distracting their opponents, drawing attention away. The scene swirled in wild motion, Jamie catching glimpses of their shared resolve. They were still fighting, still moving, determined not to let fear hold them back. But then, Jamie caught sight of something darker in the chaos. A figure loomed behind, eyes glinting, directing the chaos. The gang leader. This was a challenge he hadn't foreseen, a face of danger he hadn't prepared to confront. "Who's in charge here?" The leader sneered, making Jamie's pulse spike. Their fight was only beginning, and it would take more than brute force to win this battle. With the gang closing in and the dog charging beside him, Jamie swallowed hard. He felt the weight of every kid behind him, the fire of their fight burning fiercely. "We won't back down," he vowed to himself. "Not now, not ever." What if this fight revealed more than their bravery? What if it uncovered the secrets of the leader in the shadows? The gang leader stepped forward, the shadows wrapping around him like a cloak. He was taller than Jamie had imagined, a tough exterior that seemed to absorb the fading light. His smirk hinted at a confidence that shook Jamie's resolve. "You think you can take us on? Little kids with sticks and rocks?" His voice dripped with mockery, cutting through the chaos like a knife, but Jamie clenched his jaw, refusing to let fear consume him. "We're not afraid of you," he shouted back, surprising himself with the volume and fierce conviction in his voice. Max growled low beside him, as the stray dog mirrored the action, standing stiff and firm, ready to protect. Jamie felt a rush of warmth spread through him at the sight of their alliance. But beneath his bravado, uncertainty whispered in the back of his mind. Could they really fight this battle? The gang advanced, their laughter growing more sinister, echoing with a sense of shared malice. Jamie's friends began to falter, glancing at one another, uncertain if their weapons could truly defend them. In that moment, Jamie knew he needed to rally them again. "Remember why we're fighting," he called out, energy surging through him. "This isn't just about us. It's about everyone who's been hurt." That seemed to resonate. The faces of his friends shifted from fear to determination. The stray dog and Max barked in unison, a powerful reminder that unity could outshine fear. He made eye contact with Mark, who stood a little taller now. Jamie could see the fire igniting in his eyes. "We've got to work together. Channel their fear into focus. Max, stay near the stray." With a nod, Max darted forward, adrenaline kicking in. The gang leapt towards them, a wave of chaos, but Jamie shouted, "Now!" They formed a wall of makeshift weapons, striking together with all their strength. Jamie swung his plank, connecting with one of the gang members, knocking him back. "Keep moving. Keep fighting." Now the stray joined the fray, nipping at ankles and causing confusion among the gang members. The growing chaos turned the tide. Jamie saw it in his friends' faces. They weren't backing down, they were rising up. This was their moment. Then something caught Jamie's eye. Among the swirling forms, the gang leader remained fixated on him, weaving effortlessly through the chaos, eyes locked. Jamie's heart raced. This was the confrontation he knew was coming. "Is that all you've got?" The leader taunted, waving his hand dismissively at his associates, who momentarily hesitated, unsure of how to react to the unexpected resilience of the kids. "You're nothing," Jamie shouted back fiercely. "You thrive on fear, but we're stronger than that." The gang leader narrowed his eyes. For a moment, time seemed to freeze as Jamie held his ground. The gang hesitated again, their confidence cracking. That small flicker of doubt was all Jamie needed. "Now everyone advance." With a renewed roar, they surged forward, and the stray dashed past them, a blur of hope and determination. The gang reeling, Jamie felt a rush of exhilaration. They could push through this. They were powerful together, stronger than any single fear. But suddenly, the gang leader shouted, "Enough!" His voice carried an authority that sliced through the chaos like a blade. "Take them down." Jamie's heart pounded as he realized the full extent of the danger still looming. This wasn't over, not yet. As the gang surged back toward them, the atmosphere grew thick with tension. Jamie felt the weight of his friends pressing behind him, and he knew their battle was just beginning. What secret plans lay hidden in the essence of the leader's confidence? And what would it take to unravel the darkness that loomed over them? Jamie felt the electric charge of the moment as he faced the gang leader. The words "take them down" resonated in his mind, but they only fueled his determination. He could see fear creeping into his friends' faces, but behind that fear, he also saw something else: grit, a fight they didn't even know they had. "Form a line," he yelled, his voice slicing through the clamor. "We hold strong together." It was time to solidify their front, to nurture that flicker of bravery that was surfacing. Jamie's friends shifted, aligning themselves by his side, a makeshift barricade against the incoming rush. Max stood protectively in front of Jamie, barked loudly, and the stray dog mirrored the sound. It was as if they were roaring back, a unified cry of defiance. Jamie took a deep breath, holding his plank tight. He had to remind his friends of the strength of their purpose. This fight was about more than the present, it was about the future. As the gang swarmed toward them once more, Jamie could see the wild looks in their eyes, the adrenaline-fueled anticipation. Jamie tightened his grip, his heart thundering against his chest. "On my count, 1, 2, 3. With a surge of unity, they charged forward. Weapons met flesh in a cacophony of shouts and clashes. Jamie swung his plank, gaining momentum as he struck another gang member, who fell backward. The impact rocked him, filling him with fiery adrenaline. "Push them back!" Mark yelled, and renewed energy surged through the group. It felt like a wildfire spreading. Jamie could feel hope spark among them. They weren't just kids anymore, they were warriors fighting for their home, their friends, their families. The dogs darted between legs, creating a whirlwind of confusion that stalled the gang. Jamie seized the moment. "Form up again. We can't let them break through." But then Jamie's heart sank as he noticed the gang leader effortlessly maneuvering through the chaos. He was like a predator stalking its prey, calm and collected. "You think you can win with these pathetic toys?" The leader sneered, his icy gaze settling on Jamie. There was something in his expression that sent a shiver through Jamie. This wasn't just a thug, this was someone who had a plan. "You're wrong," Jamie shouted back defiantly. "We're stronger than you think. We fight for what matters." Just then, the stray dog lunged at the gang leader, teeth bared. In an astonishing twist, the leader stumbled back, momentarily taken aback. Jamie felt a surge of hope, as did his friends, emboldened by the chaos erupting around them. "Keep going. Don't stop," he encouraged, feeling the wave of energy building behind him. The shift in the tide filled him with renewed courage. It was a small victory, but in battles like this, every inch counted. As the gang leader regained his composure, Jamie saw his smirk fade. "I'll end this now," he growled, finger pointing at Jamie with venom in his voice. "You're just kids. You have no idea what's really at stake." But Jamie refused to back down. "We might be kids, but we're not afraid of you. This is our city, and we'll protect it. We'll fight till our last breath." As the gang tightened their formation, Jamie could hear his heart thudding in his ears, a relentless drum signaling the urgency of the moment. Would this stand bring about the change they so desperately needed? And in that instant, he realized the battle was more than physical, it was a fight against everything that sought to strip away their power and unity. As the gang rushed forward one last time, Jamie's thoughts whirled. Did they truly have what it took to push back the darkness? The answer lay in the seconds to come. Would they prevail, or would the gang leader unveil a darkness that would shatter everything they believed in? The answer was closer than they thought. The chaos erupted around Jamie like a storm. As gang members surged forward, he could feel his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. They were all in it together now, fueled by courage born from desperation. He watched as Mark swung his makeshift weapon, connecting with a gang member's arm and sending him stumbling back. "Keep fighting!" Jamie shouted, desperation boiling over into determination. "We can't let them take our city." A chorus of voices joined in, rallying behind him. Each shout was a thread weaving through the fabric of their collective strength. They had become more than just kids, they were protectors, standing strong against the tide of fear. With a shaky breath, Jamie turned to see Max, the stray dog, darting among them, barking fiercely at the gang members. The dog was more than just a companion, he was a part of their fight, his presence igniting the spark in Jamie's heart. "Good boy, Max." He cheered, and the dog responded with an enthusiastic wag of his tail, but just as they began to gain ground, Jamie caught sight of the gang leader, reasserting his control over the chaos. He pushed through the fray with an unsettling calm, eyes glinting with malice. "You don't know what you're up against," he roared, his voice drowning out the surrounding commotion. "We know exactly what we're up against, and we won't back down," Jamie shouted, forcing every ounce of conviction into his words. "This is our home, and we're not giving it up." What happened next felt like a shift in reality. As Jamie locked eyes with the gang leader, something inside him snapped. A feeling of clarity pierced through the fog of adrenaline. No longer was he just trying to fight to survive, he was ready to fight for transformation. The image of their neighborhood, their friends, the future they wanted kindled that fire. "Form a line again," he yelled, voice filled with newfound authority. "Stick together. We're stronger shoulder to shoulder." His friends quickly obeyed, returning to their positions as the gang regrouped, sensing the hesitation in their ranks. Jamie's confidence radiated outwards. They weren't just kids standing alone, they were a wall, an impenetrable fortress against the shadows trying to encroach on their lives. "Now!" Jamie hollered as the gang pushed forward once more. They charged not just with weapons, but with resolve. Sweat dripped down Jamie's forehead, mingling with the fear and adrenaline coursing through him. The sound of wood cracking against flesh became a strange symphony, each hit felt like a heartbeat of defiance. In the midst of the struggle, Jamie noticed a flicker of uncertainty in the gang leader's eyes. With every shout, every push, Jamie felt a sense of power they had never harnessed before. They might not be trained fighters, but in that moment, they were unstoppable. Suddenly, Max charged toward the leader, snapping at his heels, and the thug stumbled back, anger distorting his features. Jamie seized the moment, charging forward for what felt like a decisive blow, but just as he closed in, a new group of gang members appeared on the periphery, a wave crashing down like an unexpected storm. The tide was changing again, this was a moment of truth. Would they stand firm, or would this be the breaking point? "Jamie!" Mark shouted, panic creeping back into his voice. "What do we do?" Jamie looked at his friends, fear and hope swirling in their eyes. This wasn't just about them anymore, it was about everything they fought for. This was the moment they could show the world and themselves who they truly were. "Together!" he yelled, a fire igniting in his soul as they braced for what was to come. As the gang pressed forward, Jamie realized he was on the brink of something even bigger than this fight. There was a strength inside each of them that had yet to be revealed. Would they rise up and harness it, or would they let fear win? In that heartbeat of doubt, Jamie's resolve solidified. They were far from done, and the fight was far from over. The next few moments could change everything. The new wave of gang members surged forward, their faces twisted with anger as they closed in on Jamie and his friends. Adrenaline coursed through Jamie's veins, every heartbeat hammering in time with the chaos surrounding them. He pushed through the fear, remembering the determination they had built together. "Stand firm!" he shouted, planting his feet as he turned to face the encroaching threat. Each of his friends stood with him, a makeshift line of resolve. They raised their makeshift weapons, each one a symbol of their right to defend their home. Then he saw a flicker of hesitation among the incoming gang members. They were used to bullying and intimidation, not facing a united front. It was as if Jamie's shout had momentarily stripped them of their bravado. For a fraction of a second, doubt danced in their eyes, and he seized it. Now! Like a cannon firing, they charged, moving as one. Jamie felt a rush of hope surge through him. Mark led the charge with a swing of his weapon, and Jamie felt himself smile despite the chaos. The clash was deafening, but it wasn't just the sound of blows landing that filled the air, it was the roar of defiance from the kids who wouldn't be pushed aside any longer. Jamie ducked and weaved, hitting back with everything he had, relying on instincts honed by fear and necessity. Max raced along the fringes, barking and darting between legs, his presence a wild card that confused their opponents. Jamie could see how it shifted the tide. The gang members were momentarily distracted by the whirlwind of fur and ferocity. Those moments of uncertainty sparked more courage amongst Jamie's group. "Keep pushing!" Jamie yelled over the noise. Each word dripped with urgency and defiance. They were more than a band of kids fighting back, they were a community, forged from shared dreams and hopes, not willing to see everything they loved taken away. The gang leader saw it too. His face twisted in frustration as he tried to rally his crew, but the momentum was shifting. For the first time, they weren't the predators. As they pushed back, Jamie took a split second to glance at his friends. He saw Anya, her eyes fierce and filled with fire, lunging forward with her own makeshift weapon. Beside her, Mark swung with a rhythm that reminded Jamie of a dance, chaotic yet purposeful. He felt their energy feeding off one another. It was as if their hearts beat as one. Together! He shouted again, feeling empowered. They pressed forward even harder, with each swing and each kick, transforming fear into strength. It was an incredible sight, this patchwork of kids turning into an unstoppable force, but the gang leader, reeling from a series of blows, was not done yet. He roared, "You think you can win? This is just the beginning." His words cut through the fervor for a moment. Had they truly underestimated him? Jamie felt doubt creeping into the corners of his mind, but he pushed it away, focusing on the faces of his friends standing beside him. They were determined, and that determination was stronger than any threat. "Let us finish this!" Jamie shouted, his voice ringing through the chaos as he felt the last remnants of fear fall away. They would not be defined by the shadows that threatened to consume them. As he raised his weapon, ready for one final push, he noticed the glint of steel in the gang leader's hand, a knife. Panic surged inside him. This was getting real, but before he could think further, the gang leader charged, a predator ready to strike. "You made a terrible mistake." Would they follow through and find the strength to stand against him, or would fear take hold one last time? Jamie felt the weight of the moment pressing down like a heavy fog. And as the leader closed in, Jamie's heart raced. What was he going to do? Was the courage that had brought them this far truly enough? The air was electric with tension, a thick blanket of uncertainty hovering over Jamie and his friends as the gang leader bore down on them. A flicker of confusion crossed Jamie's mind. He had come so far, united his friends, sparked a fire of change in their hearts. And now, in the shadow of this looming figure, reality crashed in. They had faced fear together, but now that fear threatened to manifest into something real, something destructive. "Stand tall, everyone!" Jamie shouted, his voice ringing above the clamor, desperation lacing his words. "This is our neighborhood, and we won't let him take it from us." Mark's eyes shot wide, but then Jamie saw the flicker of determination ignite in them. The same spark spurred on the rest of the group. They were scared, yes, but more than that, they were ready to claim their home. The stray dog stood firm beside Jamie, its posture unyielding, a symbol of hope in the face of adversity. Max joined in with a fierce bark, echoing the energy of the fight. Ready to defend, the gang leader charged, knife glinting in the dim light as he lunged for Jamie. The world slowed, the heartbeat of the moment echoed in Jamie's ears. But he wouldn't back down. With a deep breath, he braced himself, instinct kicking in. They were all in this together. Attack! Jamie roared, his friends leaping into motion. They formed a tight circle around him, united, a barrier fueled by their collective strength and commitment to one another. The gang leader lunged again, this time toward Mark, who swung low, connecting soundly with a dull thud. This only enraged the leader, drawing him into the fray with fervor, but Jamie saw the hesitation, the slightest hint of doubt in the leader's eyes. "We can do this," he urged, rallying his friends. "We've come too far to give up." As if fueled by those very words, his friends surged forward, creating a wall of resilience that pushed back the gang. Jamie tapped into that energy, swinging his makeshift weapon with newfound fervor. The power of their united front had reached new heights, transforming their fear into palpable strength. In the swirling chaos, the stray dog barked and dashed forward, snatching at the gang leader's pant leg with fierce determination. It was a moment of distraction, an opening Jamie couldn't let slip away. "Now! We can do this!" he yelled again, and they forged forward, relentless in their pursuit of freedom. Every swing, every shout, every encounter with the gang members built like a wave of courage cresting, a collective voice rising to drown out the echoes of despair they had felt for too long. Jamie swung wide, striking the gang leader hard enough to send him staggering back. For the first time, Jamie felt empowered, the weight of his own fears slipping away. Suddenly, the tide shifted. With the gang leader reeling, Jamie and his friends seized the moment. They pushed forward, their newfound energy lifting them like fire. The gang began to falter, uncertainty flickering among their ranks. "Stay united," Jamie called, his voice cutting through the chaos. As the gang fell back, Jamie saw fleeting glimmers of doubt and fear creeping into their faces. They were not just kids anymore, they were protectors, warriors who fought for something larger than themselves. The darkness that had threatened to swallow them began to recede, as the gang members processed the fierceness of the community rising against them. They turned and ran, driven by their instinct to escape the wrath of a united front, echoing the adage that there is strength in numbers. As the last echoes of their footsteps faded into the night, Jamie let out a shaky breath, disbelief washing over him. They had done it. They had fought back together and had sent the gang scurrying away. Cheers erupted among the group as the adrenaline coursed through them, laughter flooding the park. Jamie's heart swelled with joy, pride, and camaraderie. Max leaped into Jamie's arms, lapping at his face, while the stray dog pranced around, tail wagging, basking in the shared victory. "Can you believe it?" Tony shouted, his laughter infectious. "We actually did it." Jamie allowed himself a radiant smile. "We fought for each other, for our home." His heart raced as he looked around at the faces, finding comfort in the bonds formed amid the chaos. No longer just friends, but family. "Let us make a real plan now," Jamie said, confidence swelling within him. "This fight isn't over. We need to watch out for each other. And when morning comes, we gather the whole neighborhood. They should know they aren't alone. We can show everyone that our community can be rebuilt." Nods of agreement rippled through the group, their smiles bright and their eyes shining with possibility. They had transformed from scared kids to brave warriors, ready to reclaim the spirit of their home. As the first lights of dawn painted the horizon in soft hues, Jamie looked at his friends and knew this was only the beginning. Together, they would heal, grow stronger, and become the protectors their community needed. They were just kids, yes, but they were also harbingers of change, and that change would ripple out like waves across the water, echoing hope for all. And as Jamie stood tall, a silent promise formed in his heart. From that moment on, they would weave a different story, one filled with resilience, hope, and the indomitable power of community bonds forged in the light. This was their moment, and it was just the beginning. If you want to hear more stories of resilience and transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for incredible journeys like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others experience the power of hope. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's spread the message together.